Welcome back to Dippy Does It All. Today, we're hopping in our time machines powered by high-C ecto-cooler and fueled with Dunkaroos. Heading straight back to the glorious era of slap bracelets, super soakers, and Saturday morning cartoons. If you've ever had a Tamagotchi funeral or raced home to catch Legends of the Hidden Temple, this one's for you. Alrighty then, let's get into it. This episode is a special one because I've got someone join me who gets it. Like, really gets it. She lived the dream of Saturday morning cartoons with a bowl of cereal the size of her head. She survived the trauma of dial-up internet, and she still remembers the pain of a Walkman with anti-skip that still skipped. She's a true 80s, 90s kid back when we built forts in the woods, got locked out until the streetlights came on, and our social network was AOL Instant Messenger. And she was passing notes in class. She's a Connects queen, Lego lover, and the only person I know who still talks fondly about fairy dancers and GAC. If she wasn't rewinding a Blockbuster tape, she was leveling up on her Sega and watching Figure It Out and all that once satellite TV hit the scene. Please welcome to the podcast my friend, fellow nostalgia nerd, and Tamagotchi whisperer, Julia!
Thank you. I was always kind. I rewinded. I was always kind and I rewinded.
You know, Jackie was mentioning late fees to me, and I don't remember ever getting a late fee.
I think it's because we were too young to have to pay the late fees and our parents paid them for us. I think we didn't have to worry about that crap at that point.
That's probably actually right.
Yeah. So if it was late, it wasn't on us.
That was the chair. I don't think she farted.
It was the chair. All y'all know I would absolutely admit if it was me.
And I'm still in the room, so we know it's good. What do you want to talk about, Julia?
Where should we start?
Yeah, where the heck do we start?
I think the biggest thing about being young and, well, being young in the 90s, not young now by any means, is the lack of social media.
Oh, for sure. I think about how I put questionable things on the internet now. I can't imagine what I would have done as a child and the videos that would have existed of me. I know in particular there would be a heck of a lot of videos of me playing a blow-up guitar that I won at the fair and singing Runaway Train. For sure. Over and over and over. And I would practice it and wait for my mom to come home, and I'd immediately tell her, you got to sit on the couch, I got a performance. And sometimes the neighbor boys would come over, and we'd just Runaway Train. I think we sang it to her 100 times.
I'm glad those are the most questionable Runaway Train videos that would be on the internet of you, man.
Well, we did a lot of weird crap.
The blow-up guitars, I completely understand what you're saying, because I also won those at the fair. And the goldfish. The goldfish, actually we brought them home, but they just magically were gone.
Oh, sure.
So like we just never we couldn't keep goldfish alive from the fair. But the blow up guitars we absolutely could.
I think I had a whole bunch of blow up guitars. It's interesting you mentioned the goldfish because the neighbor girl, she won a goldfish, and I thought, oh, it's gonna. Because I had that experience as you, like they died so quick.
They die so fast.
This puppy, he's like 3 pounds, and he's still alive. And now he's got siblings. Amazing. It's crazy.
Oh, good for him.
And his name is Chert.
Chert?
Yeah.
Okay. Slay Queen Slay.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
Well,
no.
Okay, so I was born in the early 80s, and you were in the late 80s.
Yes.
But I still think that the 80s shaped a lot of our life because, some of these movies that we could talk about, they came out early 80s and we were too young to really understand what they were about. But then we hit our late elementary years, got down with those movies for sure.
100%.
What are some of the movies that you think back on fondly from your childhood?
Fondly, The Sandlot. 100%. One of my favorites. What are your thoughts?
I love The Sandlot. Did you ever try to reenact it at all with in the yard?
I mean, I tried to be good at baseball, but let's be real, I'm very uncoordinated. I just fell off my bike tonight as a 35-year-old, so obviously hitting a ball with a bat wasn't my best bet. we tried. My sister was very good at softball. So the reenactments we had were very accurate, but I was more the ball and she was the bat. So
I am thinking, my mom told me this story that I loved Pinocchio so much when I was a kid, and I made her rent it 200 times or something crazy. And to actually purchase the movies was really expensive in that time.
Oh, it was.
And so she spent the money to buy the movie for me. She said, never watched it one more time.
Why the you love Pinocchio? Excuse my language, but like, honestly, that movie was creepy with the donkey and Geppetto.
Well, Jackie's asked me the same thing. But
I wonder why.
I think really what it is, if you think about the message, when you wish upon a star.
Isn't that from Cinderella?
No, that is actually from Pinocchio. Makes no difference who you are. And I just like that message. And
okay, that's fair.
I mean,
valid.
I don't want to be a boy now, but maybe at the time I wanted to be a real boy. I don't know.
Fair, valid. You know what? I will tell you, my sister used to, back in the 90s, she said, I'm supposed to be a boy, and she insisted on peeing standing up. Insisted upon it. And there weren't those little, what are they called? The things that you have for women these days that you can...
Ooh, what is that called?
I don't know.
Shiwi or something?
I think it's shiwi, yeah.
A shiwi or something like that.
But she insisted, like, I'm going to pee standing up. And that actually goes back to Nerf guns and BB guns. And she just wanted to be like her cousins. And her cousins were boys, and she just wanted to pee standing up.
My mom did daycare, and she said that I looked at her and I said, I don't have a tail, when she was changing a diaper. I really wanted a tail, apparently. It's funny how kids process things and what they think is what.
Is.
We really got off topic here.
we did.
We talked about creepy Pinocchio. I also had a huge fascination with Big Bird, but I didn't really remember that. But Jackie was scanning in all my baby photos. I think I had a Big Bird cake for 4 years. I was really into Big Bird.
So it's not that you were into Big Bird. Your parents were into Big Bird. I'm sorry. Whoever bought your cake was into Big Bird because you could not make that executive decision. That was your parents.
I loved that Follow That Bird movie. Big Bird just
Big
going.
Bird's great. Big Bird's great.
Pee-wee? Did you like Pee-wee?
I was afraid of Pee-wee, to be honest. I think I was too young at that point.
Oh, sure.
To truly understand Pee-wee. But I remember being like, this guy's kind of weird.
Land Before Time?
Yes. That movie is scarier than people understand when you're a small child. Like, I haven't watched it as an adult. But as a child, I remember being very, very scared. But I remember loving the movie.
When you're talking about irrational fears or a movie that's scarier when you're little than now, I saw Jurassic Park in the theater when it came out. It came out in the summer of 93.
I was 4.
Well, I was 10, okay?
I was 4.
I was 10. Sounds like you're farting.
It was the chair. I would admit it if I farted.
We need a new studio.
We all know I would admit it if I farted.
We need better chairs. No, anyway, I saw Jurassic Park in its theatrical release, summer of 93. I was 10 years old. And I pissed my dad off so bad because he was a firefighter and a part-time police officer. And he thought, I can dump my daughter at Jurassic Park and work the fireworks up on campus because there was a theater up there.
He was going to leave you at the movie theater with a dino movie?
Yeah, he put me in a dinosaur movie. I think I was with my cousin or something, or the neighbor kid. I don't remember who I was with. But he was trying to direct traffic for the fireworks up on campus. And I'm at the theater to watch the movie. Scared the shit out of me. I leave the theater halfway through the movie because I am like terrified.
And Dad was nowhere to be found.
No, he's in the middle of the street directing traffic. And it pissed him so bad because I had to stand there with him then. Because he had nowhere to put me. He couldn't take me home. He had to direct traffic. So there I was, sitting right on the curb. Dad's in the middle of the street.
Sounds like Dad had some poor planning. Like, let's send her to a scary dino movie by herself. Or she could come stand by me in traffic and I'll get pissed.
Well, to be fair, there was a lot of weird things that I've heard about of movies that I've watched. And hopefully my mom talks about it on the Mother's Day podcast. But I don't know. We don't know what's happened yet. Oh, that's coming on Saturday. But I'm curious.
Stay tuned. It's going to be great. Elisa's mom is going to reveal it all. Like Clarissa back in the 90s.
The funny thing is that this episode's probably going to come out after it. So, hey, we're in the future. Anyway, my mom was telling me this story. Crawl out of my crib at night and like just watch HBO. And
wait, you had HBO?
Yeah.
At the times that you had a crib?
Yeah, we did. And I would crawl out of it. And my mom said, you weren't getting at anything, so we just let you be, you know. They'd find me in the morning just asleep on the floor with the static on the TV or whatever. Well, she said we were at the grocery store. I looked at this lady and I said, Mom, that's Jodie Foster. And I'm 4 or 5. And she goes, how the hell does she know who Jodie Foster is? Turns out I watched The Accused, which is a terrible movie for a kid to be watching. Like, she gets assaulted on a pool table.
Oh, no.
It's horrible. But she says that the weirdest part about the whole thing is I couldn't read at the time. So she didn't know how I knew that was Jodie Foster. Her only theory is that in the previews, they'll say, Jodie Foster in whatever.
Okay, fair. Fair. I have no idea what movie The Accused is.
It's a horrible movie. I have not watched it as an adult.
The only Jodie Foster movie that I have been into is Contact because I'm a nerd.
Oh, that's a great movie.
It's a great movie. I used to, when I was like 17, people were like, you look like a young Jodie Foster. It was great. I did not understand at the time how great of a compliment that was. I wish I would have known. Because now I just strive to be a young Jodie Foster. I will never reach that.
Yeah, well, hey, when you wish upon a star. So actually, it looks like I would have been 5 because it came out in 1988. I wish you could see. She's peeling a banana really awkwardly across the table from me. People are going to listen to this and go, what the hell happened? No, I love it. Okay, so we talked about a lot of things. We got off on tangents. Were you into any of the movies that Jonathan Taylor Thomas was in?
OMG.
Was he your guy?
Oh, yes. We watched, Tim the Toolman Taylor all the time.
Home Improvement?
Yes. Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Yeah, that's what you called it?
Well, I mean, maybe. I mean, it was Home Improvement, but like ultimately we were watching it for anything other than Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yeah.
My sister actually had him pasted on the inside of her desk door along with Noah Wyle.
Oh, yep. Devon Sawa, probably.
Nope. Oh. Fox Mulder.
Oh, sure.
So it was Fox Mulder, Noah Wyle, and JTT. That was all we had. We had those 3 people, which looking back, it's really weird as a prepubescent female to have pictures of full-grown men.
David Duchovny.
Yeah, David Duchovny. Also, Noah Wyle was a full-grown adult.
Yeah,
but he was really sexy. He's sexier now. But JTT was everywhere. And Leonardo DiCaprio. I think you can speak on this.
Yes, I had
Titanic.
Oh my!
Titanic.
Be ready. We need an hour to talk about Titanic.
We don't have an hour.
I love Titanic so much. Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet, which I didn't admit till later in life.
Could they have both fit on the piano, whatever wood that was?
For sure they could have.
Why the heck did they not?
Because that doesn't make a good movie. Someone's got to die. And then she's got to be miserable her whole life. And that's why she goes back to the site.
And this multi-billion-dollar necklace.
56-carat necklace.
Thank you.
Can you believe that?
I can, because it was a trivia question that we got wrong.
Well, you should know more things.
You're right.
Okay, so yeah. JTT had a lot of good movies, like man of the house. I remember that one was great.
That was wonderful.
Did you ever watch like Little Giants?
It's ringing a bell, but
Rick
I can't
Moranis
remember.
was doing all those fun movies like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Honey, I Blew Up the Kids. And then he was competing against his athletic brother, and he had all those kids that were terrible at football, and they got a football team together, and it was so cute.
I think I watched that once, but I'm pretty sure I watched The Sandlot like 25 times.
Yeah. I was really into Little Giants. But I also...
What about The Karate Kid?
Oh, yes. Three Ninjas.
Three Ninjas.
Three Ninjas,
Okay,
for
so
sure.
we used to hang out with we only had male cousins, right? So I always had to be Tum Tum. And that was an issue. It was an issue because I couldn't be Colt or Rocky. I was always Tum Tum.
That
because
is
I was
an
the
issue.
youngest. But I adapted. It was fine. But my sister was always Colt, and then Justin, my oldest cousin, was always Rocky, and I was always Tum Tum. And they just were like, there's a cougar in the woods that's following you. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. And I actually acted exactly like Tum Tum. So, it's fitting. It's fitting. It's fitting. Oh.
But what came first, the chicken or the egg? Did you act like Tum Tum because you were having to be Tum Tum? Or did they pick you to be Tum Tum because you already were Tum Tum?
I was probably already the Tum Tum. Let's be real. I was probably already Tum Tum. I'm a scaredy cat.
And raise your hand if that just confused you.
Oh.
There's so many good ones. Okay, so we talked about this. Mighty Ducks.
Yes.
Yes. So into the Mighty Ducks.
I believe that because you seem like a hockey fan.
Yeah, well, I played hockey.
Not surprised.
Do you need a minute to dump your banana? You can.
Well, I just want to throw my banana peel away and be respectful.
You can.
I've got other things to pull out of my bag to surprise you. I planned ahead. This was a surprise, and I ate it anyway. You know I don't eat fruits or veggies because I'm very unhealthy. I strictly ate the banana to make everyone uncomfortable.
How about the Super Mario Brother? Did you watch that? The movie?
I did, but that was like this past 5 years.
You just watched it the last 5 years?
Did it not come out? We went to
No!
movie theaters, man.
No! There was one in the 90's.
No, we didn't do, we did not do Nintendo. We only had the goddamn Sega. And guess what? When we played it, my dad played it. And he was a rock star at Sonic. And my sister and I would sit there and watch him okay, he's an engineer. And I'm not saying anything about him, or I don't want to sound bad, but he's special. He's special in a way that he is very good with his hands, and he's very good at math, and he's very good at making that remote control do what he wants it to do, and he just is great. And we just watched him rock Sonic through the levels that we could not make it through. My sister and I played Streets of Rage, and it was great because we could just beat the shit out of each other on the Sega instead of in real life, because we got in trouble if we did it in real life. But ultimately, no, we did not have a Nintendo.
Well,
I didn't know about the Nintendo movie.
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember exactly when it came out. Let me see. You gotta watch it. I actually have the poster hanging up in my movie room.
I thought it just came out this
Well, there was an animated one that came out.
Yeah.
But no, I'm talking about the one that came out in the day.
Don't smoke. Don't smoke.
1993 it came out.
Well, I was 4, so obviously I didn't go to the Nintendo movie, ma'am.
It had John Leguizamo, Dennis Hopper, and them in it. It's so great. I can show you after.
Okay. I'm trying to be it.
You know, but this brings up a great point when you're talking about your dad got you through the hard levels. Kids these days, they don't understand that we didn't have autosave.
No.
So if you
died,
yeah,
you were done.
You're back to the beginning.
Yes, exactly. Without my dad, we would have redone all of the Sega levels a million times. We already had done them so many times. You could only get so many rings.
And the worst part about it is the first couple levels were always pretty easy.
Yeah.
So you would do those hundreds of times and you'd get so annoyed. Here it is again. I got to jump here and I got to get this here. But then you'd get to level 4, die.
Yep.
You'd have to go back over and over.
It was the underwater ones with Sonic that killed us. It was like, and you just died.
So that's where we differ, because I had all the Nintendos. I had Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. I had a color Game Boy, but I didn't have any Sega. Why are you looking so shocked?
Well, so I was born in 89.
Yeah.
What year were you born?
83.
Right. So the Sega came out way before, so I'm looking shocked because I'm like, you had all of the things that I wanted. You were so cool in my eyes that you had all of those things. Izzy, my friend Izzy, in elementary school, I was so jealous. She had a Nintendo 64. And when I went to her house and I stayed overnight, she would play Donkey Kong, but I could not play because I sucked.
Oh, sure.
And she would be like, no.
Yeah.
You watch me play.
Yeah.
And I get it. She also had a hot tub, so I was not complaining.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it was like, oh, I wanted, the first Nintendo I had was a Wii.
Was Izzy an only child?
No, she had two older sisters.
Oh, because I'm an only child.
Lots of cats.
I'm an only child, and my dad just bought everything.
Her dad was a realtor, and they had no issue with the cash monies.
Well, I don't think we actually had the money. I think my dad just put crap on credit cards. As evidenced by him still, or I shouldn't say still, he recently told me he had paid off the debt from my childhood, and I am 42. So I believe he put a lot of things on credit cards.
I cannot speak to this because I will not be throwing rocks from a glass house.
I'm not either. I'm just saying I don't know if he made the best financial decisions, but...
Well, I haven't either, and I'm not throwing rocks from a glass
Either
house.
way, I had the Nintendos.
But you had a great childhood, right?
Yeah. Oh, my childhood rocked.
Perfect. So it's worth the credit card debt is what you're telling me.
It was totally worth it. It's totally worth it. Okay. And you know what?
Wonderful.
Look at me. I'm doing great.
You turned out okay.
And he's doing great. He's still working, even though he should be retired. But he's doing great.
She's all right.
Do you have 5 movies? If you could watch 5 movies from that era, what 5 would you pick?
The original Jurassic Park, the original Ghostbusters, Gremlins.
Oh, Gremlins is good.
Sandlot. Oh, I need a minute to think about the last one because obviously it's really important. What about you?
I would go with, and this is going to be very, very difficult because I wrote down like 60 movies.
Yeah, because you're a movie fan.
I love movies.
We didn't have that much access. We had VHS tapes.
Yeah, I had VHS tapes too. But when my parents separated, my dad would have me walk to the video store when he was at work, and I'd rent 3 movies, walk back. I would watch all 3 movies. The next day, repeat, because I was with him in the summers. I think I rented like 300 movies that summer. Every Friday I could go get Pizza Hut. Like, who doesn't love that? But because of that, I've watched a lot of movies. But what I would pick, I would for sure piggyback on you with the Jurassic Park and the Ghostbusters. You have to have those too.
Absolutely. They are your existence
you absolutely
in the
have
80s,
to.
90s.
Yep. Then I would pick, oh, Jesus, this is hard. I would pick Back to the Future.
Oh, okay. That's a good one too.
I'd pick Back to the Future. I have to pick Titanic. It'd be terrible if I didn't.
Well, you had the poster in your bedroom.
Well, I did have the poster. But maybe let's make a house rule. I can kick that one out because that came in 97. I feel like maybe I want to go back a little earlier.
Also, everyone owned.
Everyone had Titanic.
Let's go back. Let's talk about what you would rent at the store that you didn't already own.
Well, that was a lot of them because we didn't own a lot back then. But okay,
we had Titanic. We had Titanic,
Which
was 2 VHS tapes.
Yep.
And we only ever watched the first one because the second one was just sad.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
he could have fit.
Well, and here's the thing. I think I like that rule because we also had Titanic. I made my mom get up at midnight and go to Walmart because I thought for sure it was going to sell out, and they had pallets and pallets and pallets and pallets. She thought it was ridiculous, but you know what? She did it.
She thought you wanted it.
Exactly. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to do original Jurassic Park. I'm going to do original Ghostbusters. I'm going to do Back to the Future. I'm going to do
Beetlejuice?
definitely Beetlejuice. Yep.
Beetlejuice.
And then I get one more. I am going to say, let me look at this list.
What was that movie?
Top Gun.
I still have never watched Top Gun.
I just fell out of my chair.
But
What do you mean you haven't watched Top Gun?
I have not watched Top Gun. I know that, like,
not even the new one?
Goose. No, I haven't.
We just watched it last week. Both of them.
I'm gonna just say I'm sheltered, but I would choose Princess Bride.
Princess Bride is great. That is so good.
I've never watched it. Well, I've watched Princess Bride, but not Top Gun.
Why is that? Do you have an aversion to Tom Cruise or something?
No.
Just not into the military?
No. I've just never watched it. I've just never made, like, the conscious decision, like, we're watching this today.
You know what would be interesting? To have you watch it and see what you think of it.
I'm
Because
sure I
you
would
know,
love it.
when you see something at a certain point in your life, it creates a memory, and you will forgive some weird nuances of it because you just love how it makes you feel. Because
Right.
it brings you to a place where you... What?
Nostalgia.
Yeah. Nostalgia. But it brings you to a feeling of less concern.
Yeah, because you go back in time.
Yeah, when we were kids, the most thing we cared about was playing with our friends or having nice weather
100%.
or no homework or, like, I don't know. We just didn't care about stuff. Talking about social media and how we grew up without it, we didn't care so much what our friends were doing because we had no idea what they were doing.
Right.
They had no way to
because there
post
was no way
it.
to know. There was no FOMO because you didn't know what they were doing.
You didn't. You had no idea. If they had a super fun vacation, you wouldn't see it unless they printed the film and brought in a thing. But people
And
didn't
they were
do
like,
that.
here, look at my pictures in my photo book.
Yeah, exactly.
With the crunchy paper. You know what I'm talking about? Like the actual...
Definitely. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. But no, I've never seen Top Gun, but I would agree with the rest of your choices. I'm not saying Top Gun's a bad choice. I just have never seen it that I can't speak to.
Top Gun.
I would throw in Princess Bride instead of Top Gun.
I think the reason why those would be on my list is because they're rewatchable. You can just rewatch them an infinite amount of time because you don't get bored with it. You even know what's happening, but you're excited for it to happen. And I think that's what makes movies movies.
100%. What's your, like, I'm going to go to bed, can't fall asleep, I just want to put on a familiar movie?
Well,
It doesn't have to be from the 90s.
I don't want you to feel bad about yourself or anything. But if I want to go to sleep, I just go to sleep. I just close my eyes and I'm out. Jackie gets really upset.
But,
She's
like, what
awake
if
for like
you
2
can't?
hours.
What if you can't fall asleep?
Okay, well,
It's not a problem?
hypothetically, let's say if this happened to me. No, it's never happened.
Okay.
Cut this part out because people are going to be like, what the hell? Okay, let me go back. If I had to watch a movie over and over and over and over that I would go to sleep to, I would probably pick a romantic comedy.
Okay.
Oh, I know exactly what I would pick. Jerry Maguire.
Also never watched it.
What?
I was not allowed. We had that VHS tape, and my mom was like, you can't touch that.
I freaking love
Can't
Jerry
touch this.
Maguire. The only
Not
part
allowed.
that I would have to be asleep before Jerry is getting yelled at by his client where he's like, show me the money! Show me the money! You have to watch that too.
I have to watch Jerry Maguire.
I'm creating a list. We need to have you watch these things.
I've never seen Jerry Maguire.
Or maybe I'd watch The Wedding Singer.
Yes.
The Wedding Singer would be a good go-to-bed type of a movie. Because it's just familiar.
I tried to convince Dustin that the song that Adam Sandler sings to Drew Barrymore on the plane should be our first dance song. He was not a fan.
It didn't work?
He did not agree, but like, I thought that was the sweetest thing ever.
That is so sweet.
Also, I'm Julia Gulia. Let's be real. So like, I love that movie.
What would you do if you were on a plane and someone did that? Would it be utter cringe? Would you drop a tear? Or would you be...
To be honest, it depends on who the person was that was doing that. Like, if it's someone that skis me out, utter cringe. If it's someone that I consider a friend, whether or not I care about them in that same aspect as what they're saying to me, I absolutely would... It would make my heart sparkle because it's just showing love.
Your heart sparkle.
Yes, it would make my heart sparkle,
How
man.
Cute. I feel like in our era, TV shows were an event. We had Saturday morning cartoons. You had Saturday night Nickelodeon, Snick. You had TGIF. You had to be in front of the TV or you missed it.
Right. Not even like the kid shows, but like the adult shows, like Home Improvement.
Yeah.
The new episode aired at 6:00 on this night.
Yeah.
Every week.
And if you missed it, you missed it.
There was no getting it back.
There was probably
no TiVo.
Yeah, that was
TiVo.
probably the only FOMO that we did have.
Right.
Is if, let's say, you got hit up traffic or your practice went long or whatever the heck happened, and you missed it. Everyone's talking about it. You didn't know.
And you
didn't see it.
You couldn't look it up
Couldn't
on
YouTube
YouTube.
it. Yeah,
you couldn't get it back. It was just gone. Like
horrible.
You had to just wait until.
Yeah.
When? When could you watch it?
There were occasionally reruns.
Yeah, but that was how many years later?
A long time. Yeah. Just like movies. If you didn't see a movie in the theater, you had to wait 2 years for it to come out on VHS.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Now
it's
sometimes same
Disney
day.
Plus, you have to wait 6 months. God forbid.
Or a lot of movies, well, I shouldn't say a lot anymore. During the pandemic, they came out same day. But now some of them are coming out same day in the theater and on streaming. Crazy. What are some of your shows that when you were littler, you couldn't miss?
Recess.
Oh, God, Recess is great.
So I still, to this day, resonate with Spinelli.
Oh.
That's why I can't do my curly hair when it's hat season because I will look like Spinelli. That is exactly what I've told people. I can't wear a hat and do the curly hair because it's going to go.
Did you try to reenact any of the episodes at school?
Well, at school, I'm kind of a nerd. When I was at school, I was really nerdy. When I was in 3rd grade, my teacher was like, okay, so instead of doing the regular spelling list, pick 20 words out of the dictionary and that will be your spelling list. So no, when I was at school, I was like, I'm here to learn because I'm just a big nerdy nerd.
I love that so much.
I didn't. I didn't have a whole lot of friends, man. So no, I did not reenact any of the Recess episodes, but my sister and I reenacted a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff.
Oh, heck yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff.
Which, by the way...
You're wearing...
Yeah, this is the pattern of the bedspread that came out in the 80s. This is the exact pattern. I'm wearing it in a shirt because why not?
Because it's beautiful.
Hashtag Roosevelts. All I know is I watched a few shows that I'm not sure as many kids watched. I was huge into the Thunderbirds, which was a United Kingdom show where they had marionette dolls, and the Thunderbirds were these basically like Air Force pilots that went and solved all these different problems throughout the world. And I had the entire island, Tracy Island, all of the action figures, all of the ships and everything that they flew. I don't have any idea how I've watched this. I think it was on BBC. But I was obsessed with it. Not a single kid at school knew anything about it. They did sell the toys in Toys R Us, though. That's how I got the toys.
I miss Toys R Us. I would get rid of Best Buy in an instant to have Toys R Us back. The Thunderbirds. Yeah. That's similar to the Blue Angels, right?
Well, the Air Force Thunderbirds are the Blue Angels equivalent. Blue Angels are for the Navy. But like this is actually a show of marionette dolls.
Okay.
And I'll show you a picture. These guys. No, it's legit marionette dolls. I also was hardcore into Street Sharks. Had all of those action figures too.
I know the Street Sharks.
Yeah.
I did not have the action figures. I was hardcore into Beanie Babies.
Ooh, yeah.
Not the Street Sharks, unfortunately. Street Sharks are way cooler than Beanie Babies. Sharks.
The other show that I really liked that not everybody watched, but was Real Ghostbusters. And I don't know if you're familiar with this or if you know this, but in that era, what was happening is studios were making movies, but then they were also making TV shows to play off of those movies because they were trying to get the kids of the people that liked the movies. So Ghostbusters had a Real Ghostbusters cartoon. So it was all of the Ghostbusters animated. Slimer was super cool in that show. They also had Beetlejuice movie, but they had Beetlejuice animated series. They had an Ace Ventura animated series. It was a thing that they were doing back then.
So here's my thing. We had an antenna that we literally had to turn. My dad had this he had a box that you could turn the antenna with. There were buttons to turn the antenna based on the weather.
Did he make that?
His antenna at one point was 60 feet tall, but yes, he did. So he had this box that controlled the antenna. He's an engineer.
That's why I was wondering, did he make it?
He did. But we had no actual TV. So we just had to tune the antenna to get like KEYC 12.
Oh, sure.
So Saturday morning cartoons were the only things we had until I was 12.
Sure.
We could afford a satellite dish.
Yep.
So keep in mind, when I was 12, that's like 2001.
That's when I graduated high school.
Yeah, we didn't have TV aside from what we could get on the gall darn antenna until 2001.
That's so interesting because I feel like we're not that big in an age gap, but it's crazy how much changed from when I was born and you were born. And that's 6 years.
Well, a lot changed, but I feel like I grew up in a rural setting, so I didn't really grow up having the things to have the technology. I spent a lot of time in the woods. That sounds really like Paul Bunyan style. What I mean is, I feel like in general we have a lot in common because I relate to a lot of the 80s stuff.
Sure.
Because once we finally had access to it,
that's
what we watched.
Yeah.
Like Beetlejuice, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. My sister got in big trouble because she cowabunga'd from our living room pink curtains. I remember her being like, cowabunga, and jumping and grabbing them and swinging and the whole thing coming down. And that was the end of my mom's terrible pink curtains. And Jenna did her a favor. They're really bad. Really bad.
Well, can we talk about that ugly brown pattern couch that everybody owned?
Yes, it was terrible.
Why did we all own that?
I don't know. Who was thinking about this?
Were they like,
who was designing crap?
We just need one pattern. That's the one everyone's gonna have.
And it's gonna be poop brown.
Yeah. And there was like a weird flower or bird in it or something. I have no idea. I don't understand it. But it's in everybody's pictures.
Yes.
So I know everyone had that couch.
Yep.
And it was oddly structured like a foam. The cushions were a hard foam, but if you felt the fabric, it had a bizarre felt type texture. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Either way, it was not comfortable. That's all I can say. It was was not comfortable.
No, it wasn't at all.
No.
I wonder if we weren't meant to sit in front of the TV at that time. Now we are,
Now
so we
it's
have...
like, let's make this the most comfortable thing to sink into so you can sit in front of your TV for 12 hours straight.
I feel like... So you
And
mentioned...
you won't get pressure sores.
Yeah. You mentioned that you like to play in the woods. I know that I went on a lot of adventures with the neighbor kids. We lived by a cemetery, and we would bike race in the cemetery because it was set up perfectly with big circles. However, it was gravel.
However, it was a cemetery.
Well, they weren't using it, so they were fine. We weren't disturbing anyone. We would bike race there all the time.
Oh, you're right. They weren't using it. But you might have been disturbing someone.
Well, that's true. But if you'd take the corner too fast, you'd biff it, come home all scraped up. Mom would be pissed, and I don't know if you had this, but they had this, I think it was called Bactine, and your parents would spritz it on your wounds, and it would
burn like
hurt.
shit. Yes,
so terrible.
Yes, it was terrible.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I would even try to hide my wounds because I didn't want my mom.
No, Mom. Yeah. No, Mom. No. I did not get that hole in my jeans today. That's been there. You don't need to spray that on me.
Yeah, don't spray that stuff on me. This episode of Dippy Does It All is brought to you by the No Skip Walkman Pro Max.
The latest in cutting-edge 1999 technology that still skips, just like you remember.
That's right. Tired of your CDs not glitching every time you take a step? The No Skip Walkman Pro Max promises 30 seconds of anti-skip protection, unless you move or breathe or think too hard.
Includes a belt clip that barely works, a lid that never stays closed, and batteries that die before track 3 of your burned mix CD.
Plus, each one comes preloaded with a scratched copy of Now That's What I Call Music Volume 5 and a handwritten note that says, "You'll never find track 7.
Order now, and we'll throw in a pair of bright orange foam headphones that sit on your ears, not in them, because comfort is for the future.
No Skip Walkman Pro Max. Because some tech never needed to work right to be iconic. So you were mentioning one of the main things from the DARE program as a kid and how she just pulled a hot dog out. Legit.
With cheese.
Hot dog with cheese. Oh my gosh. We had 2 different responses to the DARE program. Julia was mentioning, why don't you tell them what the DARE program...
Drug and alcohol resistance education.
Yeah, but what did you take away from it?
Deputy Dave was great, and drugs sounded really fun.
I had the complete opposite reaction. I was absolutely horrified and thought that my brain was going to become an over-easy egg. I was so scared.
That's not what I got out of it. And maybe I wish I would have gotten that out of it. But no, DARE program was... I actually still have my DARE medal. You watched Goof Troop, right?
Oh, Goof Troop, I love Goof Troop.
So you remember the possums?
Yeah.
That's my childhood. Okay? The possums with, like, the banjos. That's where I grew up. In the Goof Troop banjo era.
I love that.
So playing outside, we built forts in the woods with, like, the farmer's corn that maybe he was not so happy. We cut down a large portion of his corn to weave cornstalk fort walls. And my parents actually at one point were like, you guys gotta stop. Like, we're locking you out of the house. You gotta do your thing, but you can't cut down any more corn stalks because it's very evident that you guys have put a huge dent in this man's corn crop in this area from weaving your cornstalk walls for your fort.
And that's expensive.
It is, but like, great fort, man. It was beautiful. We had 3 walls weaved with cornstalks.
That sounds really legit.
We worked really hard.
We used to play in this old rundown foundation, besides the cemetery. This old rundown foundation. I'm surprised none of us hadn't ended up with tetanus, to be honest. Because there'd be broken glass and rusty nails and all sorts of things in this rotting foundation. There's a basement.
That sounds great, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
There's actually a great story about that. There was 2 groups of kids on our street. Older, younger. We were split by about 10 years. And we came home just terrified because the older kids told us about the monster in Meadow Lane, and we were frightened. And my dad said, don't be scared of no monster. There's no monsters. I'm like, but that's how you get the cracks in your garage floor. You know, all the things that they told us.
dude, older kids are mean. They're
I know.
scary. They're scary.
Well, my dad knew we went to this foundation. And for some reason, he had an albino gorilla costume.
Wait, what?
To this day, I have no idea why it was albino. I don't know if he was some sort of snow yeti or what it was. But he gathered us up and he said, listen, kids, on Friday night, have the older kids meet you at the foundation at 8 p.m. And I'm going to bop out of the woods with this costume on and scare them. And you be brave. It's me. You're not going to be hurt. It's me. You can see me in this costume. So we invite the kids to the foundation. We were going to have a secret meeting. Because, of course, we were trying to take cues from the TV show Are You Afraid of the Dark? You know,
oh my God.
The Midnight Society that met at 8 p.m. So we met there, and all of a sudden my dad, 6'3", 260, jumps out of the woods in a albino gorilla suit. They pooped themselves, basically, ran away. We sat there, laughed. They never messed with us again about the monsters.
Well, kudos to your dad. As an adult, like, I would have beat myself even before having children. Like, that's amazing. I'm so proud of your dad for standing up for you guys.
It was really funny.
I probably would have pooped my pants, though.
Yeah, they were so frightened. They didn't mention anything about it. Never scared us again.
So there was this one kid growing up that picked on me on the bus. I was in kindergarten and he was in 5th grade. And one day on the bus, he was doing that like mocking game where it's like, "They never picked on me again."
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I just realized you're doing it to me.
I just realized you're doing it to me. And I was just pissed.
Yeah.
And as a kindergarten girl, I didn't really know that much for anger. But I was very angry.
Yeah.
And I said, "Mock me again and I'll punch you in the face." And he goes, "Mock me again and I'll punch." And I literally decked this kid in the nose. And blood poured out of this kid's nose. I actually broke his nose. And he was a 5th grader. And I was a kindergarten girl that just broke a 5th grader's nose. And he ran to the bus driver, and the bus driver started laughing. Like, and I was so scared. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be in so much trouble. Oh, like, our bus driver's name was Dale. We had Dale on bus 8 for our entire childhood. But so Dale laughed at this kid.
Yeah.
And we got, like, he handed him some Kleenexes. This kid walked to the back of the bus, far, far away from me. I got to my bus stop, and I got off, and I just started bawling. Because I was like, I just punched someone in the face. My mom was like, what? And then Caleb's mom called my mom, and she's like, so your daughter punched my son in the face?
Yeah.
And she's like, just so you know, she's very sorry. And long story short, I didn't even get a pink slip, and this kid became a priest. Yep.
Oh my gosh. I wonder
I
if
punched a priest in the face.
I wonder if he uses it for any lessons.
Probably.
You know what though? I think that's one thing that at the time we had no idea that it was going to be a big blessing in our life, but we had to solve our own problems.
We did.
We got put out in the middle of the morning and we had to stay outside until the end of the day. And occasionally someone's mom would maybe put out some Sammys or something and you'd have like a cheese and ham, or it was probably bologna, to be honest.
There was no cheese.
Yeah. Government cheese.
It was just straight up
Bologna.
We had sugar sandwiches growing up. I don't know if you know what that is.
Is it a tortilla with sugar or something?
It's bread, butter, sugar, bread.
Oh, nope. Never had
Meat's
that.
expensive, sugar's not.
Well, we had tortilla with sugar that we would have as a snack. We'd do like brown sugar with tortilla. It was so good.
Right. I loved the sugar sandwiches. And my mom's like, don't tell anyone.
Do you make them for your kids now?
No. There's no nutritional value. Heck no. I'm sure Addie would love them, but no. We only had the sugar sandwiches because like sandwich meat was very expensive.
Sure.
So we had sugar sandwiches when we had to have sugar sandwiches. I loved them. So I was so excited when we couldn't have the meat sandwiches. I was like, yay! My mom was not happy about it, but like I was thrilled.
We just did. We were outside.
Until the whistle went off.
Yeah.
Like there are no 9 o'clock whistles anymore.
No. We made up games. We would play Capture the Flag, Red Rover. Those weren't made up games. But, we would just do whatever. Play in the yard, ride our bikes, clean our big wheels. We would even ride.
Big wheels.
Well, so you grew up in rural, but I grew up in town. And we would ride our bikes miles and miles away to Happy Dan to get a 25-cent Laffy Taffy or something. Ride all the way back. We wouldn't catch frogs at a pond. Our parents had no idea where we were.
100%.
And they weren't even worried.
I would drive up to the market. My mom and dad call it Mike's.
Oh, sure.
And guess what? I went to the market just last week to buy bait to bring the kids fishing. And Mike was working. Like, it's still Mike's. It's still Mike's. But yeah, the same thing. Like, you just do things outside. My parents would be like, figure it out.
Yeah. Don't bother us.
Like,
yeah.
So that's where the fort building came in. We explored the woods in my neighbor's yard. We ate honeysuckles. I don't know if you've ever eaten a honeysuckle. So you could only eat like the little delicious buds on the end of them. You could eat more than that, I'm sure, but that's what tastes good. But like we explored so many things and tasted probably things we shouldn't have, but it was amazing. Getting locked out of the house was great. When I got in trouble, we had to run like 20 laps around our house before we could be back in the house. And one time I was a pouty child and I just ran away and I hid across the woods. And once they finally found me, they're like, you still have to run your 20 laps.
I thought for 1 second that it was going to be a good idea to run away. Until my mom grabbed me a bag and started telling me, get packing. And that scared me.
Too, and it messes with your head, man.
It totally messes with your head.
It's a genius idea.
But she told me the reason she did it was because she did the same thing as a child. And her brother made her leave and followed her on his bike and said, get going, get going. And she said the only thing she had packed in her bag was underwear and Barbies. And she was frightened.
That's all you need. Underwear and Barbies.
Did you have Barbies growing up?
Absolutely.
Well,
I still have some of those Barbies, man.
You want to laugh about this? I had Barbies. A lot of them were hand-me-downs from my mom or whatever. But I would rip their arms and legs off because they had war wounds from the G.I. Joes.
It all makes sense now. It all makes sense. Okay, my Barbies are still intact and my children play with them.
Well, I would run up to my mom and be like, can you help me get the leg back on? And she'd be like, stop pulling the legs off. But I was like, but he got blown up. Okay. But can we talk about why do they make those clothes so tight? You cannot get them on. And her arms don't bend.
Dude, Barbie clothes to get out. So here's the thing. Playing with Barbies as a child is different than being the adult that has to do the Barbie clothes thing. Because ultimately, as a child, you just want to change the clothes of your Barbies and your Polly Pockets.
Yeah. But you can't change them.
Right. So who has to change them?
Yeah. The adults.
Right. So as an adult who has those children,
Yeah.
now your sole responsibility is to try to figure out how to get these tight-ass clothes on and off the Barbies.
Yeah, and
the Polly Pockets. And you're just like, can we just burn everything?
And you change the clothes, and then they rip them off and want a different set on. And you're like, we just did this!
They change them every 3 seconds. There's no making them happy. It's like, let's put Barbie in this. And then you put Barbie in that. And they're like, no. We want Barbie in this instead. So then you put Barbie in that instead. And then 3 seconds later, Barbie needs to be in something else.
You know what's funny, though? Okay, so this makes me laugh because my niece wanted to play Barbies and she asked me to play Barbies with her and I was like, girl, I'm not a good Barbie player here. I blew my Barbies up in the war, but she She wanted to play Barbies.
You're like the crazy kid across the way in Toy Story.
I'm like Sid. Yeah,
Sid.
But I was playing with the Barbies and I was like, let's go shopping. I was like talking and she goes, you don't play it like that. I was like, well, I don't know. Do you want to fill some Ziploc bags and make some water beds? Because I also did that when I played Barbies. Because we all had water beds.
Okay, bougie.
You know, fill up the Ziploc.
I had a water bed in 8th grade, but I never did that for my Barbies.
I feel like my mom and dad have been coming up a lot, but it makes sense because this is when I was younger. They had a water bed, and it was a big ordeal to get it filled. They had to run the hose across the house, up the window, into the bedroom, fill the water bed. And they had it until my dad had a colonoscopy, and he pooped in the bed. And let me tell you, you cannot salvage a water bed if you have an accident in it.
Yes, you can, because it's like
No!
It's a vinyl liner.
No. It wrecks the box that it sits in.
Oh, he
really
pooped.
He was having a colonoscopy.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. Because I remember going, what's going on? My dad was chopping this thing up, and he's like, you don't want to know. And then 10 years later, I found out what happened.
Fair. So I got a waterbed when I was in like 8th grade, right? So this was, 8th grade. I was like 12. It was like 2000. So maybe 1999, just to make it valid for this podcast. Either way, I got this waterbed. We got it used. There was no Craigslist. There was no Facebook Marketplace. Somehow my mom was like, this lady has this used waterbed. Do you want it? And I was like finger guns, yes, please, yeah. So I got this waterbed, and I felt so cool playing my Sega and watching my VHS tapes laying in my waterbed. And it had this terrible heating thing, or terrible like headboard and heating thing. Either way, long story short, we get the waterbed, we get it filled up, and my mom's like, you were conceived in a waterbed. And I was like, I don't want the waterbed anymore.
Well, you know, sleepovers were huge when we were growing up. People were having sleepovers all the time. My cousins had a waterbed, and I'd have to sleep over there sometimes. I think they were watching me or whatever. But sleeping in a sleeping bed with or a waterbed with other people is impossible. Because if someone moves, boop, you're up. Are you afraid of the dark? Did you love it, or were you scared by it?
Both.
Yeah.
That was one of the few things that I could both love and be afraid of.
Yeah.
There were very few things growing up. Like, I watched Jurassic Park, and I had nightmares.
Yeah.
Gremlins, to this day, I will not confess that I still have nightmares about the Gremlins, but there might be a chance. But Are You Afraid of the Dark had some solid episodes. Same with Goosebumps.
Oh, Goosebumps. And you'd go to the book fair and get all the books from R.L. Stine. So good.
R.L. Stine was great.
I loved Are You Afraid of the Dark, too. That was my favorite thing to do on Saturday night, was to watch Snick. Were you big into the first game show type things, like Double Dare and Guts? Did you watch those?
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Oh,
Double Dare.
That's the best.
Guts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved all of those. Same with Figure It Out. Like, I always wanted to figure it out. And the slime.
Oh, yes.
Slime. It was like Gak.
Yep. I loved Gak. Rescue 911. Do you remember any of the episodes?
I don't remember them specifically, but I remember watching that with my parents and my sister. Like, it was a family ordeal. And I remember the guy's voice. He was very calming. He's like, well, Timmy fell into the well, and then Sandra came across Timmy, and she knew what to do, so she called 911.
I don't remember this from back then, but they recently showed some clips. And there was an episode where a kid got his tongue stuck in the freezer. And it was like a whole segment on the show, and I died laughing. The firefighters were like trying to put hot water on it, and I thought, we were on the edge of our seat with this thing.
We were.
Yeah.
We were. I guarantee you we were.
Yeah.
We were sitting there in our living rooms.
Are they going to get it free?
And myself like, oh my gosh, this kid's going to lose his tongue.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
What about America's Funniest Home Videos?
Oh, we watched that as a family as
That
well.
was like the original TikTok.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. It absolutely was.
To this day, I still feel like, oh, someone's going to catch me on video doing something weird.
So my dad was an engineer. He was a nerd. We had a VHS recorder.
Uh-huh.
Which not a whole lot of people had those back in like the early 90s, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe they did. I don't know. I felt special that we had one.
Yeah.
At one point, our poor cat, poor Susie. Her name was Susie. And we put her and tucked her under a blanket. My sister and I are like, we're going to record us sitting on her. So my sister had the video recorder, and I pretended to sit on Susie, who was tucked under the blanket. And she was like, "Meow," and ran out. And we were like, ah, terrible acting.
Yeah.
And it just obviously never got sent in because that was terrible acting. But nonetheless, we wanted to be on America's Home Videos.
Oh, everyone tried, huh?
Oh, poor Susie.
That's great. So you talked about collecting Beanie Babies. What was your, like, holy grail of Beanie Babies that you were so excited to get? Did you get the Princess Diana one?
Gotta catch 'em all. I don't even know. I don't know. I just remember going to McDonald's and my mom bought us Happy Meals. And the lady was like, here, we'll take your Happy Meals and you can have these Happy Meals, but we want what Beanie Babies are in your Happy Meals. And my mom was like, no.
Yeah.
Like, these are not the droids you're looking for.
Yeah.
But that lady was scary to me because I was really little. Ultimately, I just wanted anything cute and fuzzy.
Sure.
Because I had no freaking clue. Guess what? My mom has 2 giant Rubbermaid tubs full of Beanie Babies, and they're worth nothing.
That's
Surprise!
the thing. They were for a little bit, but then that bubble burst. That's like everything,
Well,
you know?
Here's the ones that she has are ones that we loved.
Yeah.
They're not in their collector cases.
I had some Beanie Babies, but it was only the ones that came in the Happy Meals because in that era, you got the coolest toys in Happy Meals.
Yeah, the Happy Meals suck these days.
And not only McDonald's, but Hardee's. Hardee's had a lot of cool stuff. They had Flintstones cups, and when Days of Thunder came out, they had Days of Thunder cars. And we collected Matchbox cars and Hot Wheels. We were all into that. We were more into that than Beanie Babies. We'd have a whole thing set up in the basement where you had garages and neighborhoods and rugs that had roads and everything. Huge into that. Played a lot of that, a lot of action figures. Collected most of the Ninja Turtles. You had the pizza van that shot the pizza discs. So cool.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
We never had that. We did love some Ninja Turtles. A lot of Ninja Turtle stuffs.
The really interesting thing to me is I lost the original ones because with all the different moves and everything. But they just re-released the action figures to look exactly like the originals. So I bought some because it's like having your old toys, but you got it brand new.
Where are they?
Up in the movie room.
I might need to see these.
Did you have a Teddy Ruxpin? Or a My Buddy?
No.
Okay, so let's call back to where I said I watched some questionable things, and so the fact that I was scared of Jurassic Park should be really funny. The original Child's Play came out in 1988, so that was before Jurassic Park. And the My Buddy doll came out. When did that come out? 1985, okay? So I had a My Buddy doll. And
What does it look like?
I'm pulling it up right here. It looks almost exactly like the Chucky doll, okay? So I had one of those, and I played with it for a while. I loved it. But then I saw Child's Play, which is also known as Chucky, if you're wondering. And it looks very similar to the My Buddy doll. Freaked me out because I thought, this thing is going to come to life. So I buried it in this back, like, little cellar that we had in our basement and put a cinder block on it. Because I thought, I don't want this thing to come and get me in the night. Terrified me. I finally fessed up to my parents that I had seen this scary movie, and they got rid of the doll. Because I was just so scared.
Dude, I would have been scared too. I would have been just dying.
But I think that is pretty ironic that I saw Chucky, but was scared of Jurassic Park and had to stand by the side of the road. Like what?
You're like, Dad, I can't do it. Well, you
Yeah.
saw Jurassic Park in the theaters.
That is different.
It's different
Yeah,
than
yeah.
like watching it at home.
That is true.
I will tell you right now that I have had dinosaur nightmares into my adult life. My parents went on like one vacation. I think my dad was going to San Francisco for work. And we were with my cousins. And I had horrible Jurassic Park dinosaur dreams and had to wake my aunt up. And she was like, go to bed. It's not real. And I was like, hey, it's real. They're in San Francisco, Jurassic Park. Because like the second movie, they're in California, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Freaky.
oh,
Did you, you were talking about earlier Legos and Connects. Which one did you prefer?
I mean, I liked Legos, but we had some pretty bomb Connects
Structures?
sets. So I had this Connects
Did
roller coaster.
you have the Ferris wheel?
I didn't, but I could build a Connects Ferris wheel with the Connects that I had.
Yeah.
And I built that a few times, but I had a Connects roller coaster that's like, I still have it actually. It's 6 feet long
That's
and
cool.
3 feet wide. And I love it.
I wish they still made Connects.
Me too.
Because they are great.
They are great, but now they make like Connects Lego things where it's
Yeah.
like a combo, but it's not the same.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love that Lego has upped their game with the licensing for the sets because, you know, you've got Simpsons, which we didn't really touch on that, but that's my favorite television show.
Yes.
So good. I'd come home from school, get off the bus, sit down at the table in the kitchen, do homework, math homework usually, and watch The Simpsons. It's just, I can put myself there right now when I think about it.
On the couch with Bart and Lisa and Maggie.
We had a little TV in our kitchen that was more convenient to watch. So that's where I would sit.
That's amazing.
19 inches.
We didn't have, we had one TV when I was like little. That was it.
Yeah. It's so funny to think about. 19 inches was a big TV back then.
Right?
So crazy.
Things have changed so much. Is it for the better?
I would say for the most part, yes.
But like having bigger TVs and having them in more rooms of the home.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's for the better? Or do you feel like it's like a catch-22?
Well, probably a catch-22 because when you had one TV, it was more of an event for the family. They had to decide what we were going to watch. And now, I don't like that you're watching this. I'm just going to go to this room and watch this. And you're not connecting as deep maybe as you would. And you don't always have that mutual discussion, if that makes sense.
100%.
Like you're into these shows and I'm into these shows and we're just going to do our own thing, you know.
100%.
I watch a lot of sports now, and thankfully Jackie likes to watch sports. So we're usually at the same TV anyway. But it's nice to have options. You want to be on the porch, you want to be in the living room, you want to be in the basement, you want to be in the bedroom. You know, it's nice.
I can tell you right now, with a teenage child, I'm so glad that I don't have to watch Temptation Island with her and my 9-year-old. Like, she can go upstairs and do that, and we can watch Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. And we still watch Pokemon.
I love it.
Because that's still cool, even though it's not the 90s.
I never got into Pokemon.
Ever?
No,
Okay.
I'm not against it. I just haven't ever got into it. I wonder if it just missed. I must have been busy with something else. When did it come out?
So, when I was growing up, my sister and I were big into Dragon Ball Z. And we had to get off the bus and get home in time to watch
96.
Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
But there were friends of mine that were like, oh, Pokemon, but we didn't get off the bus in time. So.
Pokemon came out in 96, and I was in 7th grade.
I was 7.
So that's probably why, you know, I was busy with hockey. When I hit 7th grade, like, all I did was play hockey, basically.
That's fair.
And,
That's fair.
you know. But anyway.
I was never athletic.
I tried to play basketball, but that was a huge fail. I'm not good at that.
Tried to play softball, and then I got knocked out with a softball bat, and I was like, I'm done.
Ironically,
Like, I'm just not athletic either.
Ironically, I'm only good with balls if there's a stick.
Ironically, I'm just not good with balls or sticks. So I
have
a cat. She's
about
great. Her name's Noodle.
You talked about gack, which I loved gack, but how about floam?
Even better, those little bubbly little bubbles.
I know, but I can almost smell that weird smell that it had.
Why am I saying it's green?
Yeah.
But it smells like green.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Very chemically. Silly Putty. We would always try to like copy the comics on the Silly Putty.
The newspaper Silly Putties. Yes.
Then this kind of plays off of it a little bit. Did you ever have a creepy crawler machine? Because I totally did. And I burned myself every time I used it.
Okay, we had the creepy crawler machine. We've had 2 of them. I didn't burn myself on the creepy crawler machine, but I did on the frickin' Easy Bake Ovens.
I didn't have an Easy Bake Oven.
Oh, we had that. Like, the creepy crawler machine, it was my sister's. Maybe that's why I didn't burn myself on that. We made a lot of creepy crawlers. My mom is afraid of cockroaches.
Oh, sure.
We gave her a few scares. But I had the Easy Bake Oven, and I burnt myself on that thing multiple times. Also, it's really expensive.
The Easy Bake?
To buy.
Oh,
like,
the
you
stuff?
have to buy the stuff to do it. It's ridiculous. Probably the same for the creepy crawler stuffs.
It probably was, but I have no idea. At that time, I didn't know how much anything cost.
Fair. Valid.
But I loved the creepy crawler, but literally was burned every time. Like, why are we giving... That's another thing about...
Let's just
problem
let children
solving. Yeah.
burn themselves on this thing that can absolutely light on fire.
And the interesting thing was the molds were metal, but the outer part was plastic.
Yes.
How did that even work?
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
Yeah, it's
It
so
was
crazy.
terrible.
Okay, I've got just a list of things here.
Okay.
Lava lamps. Did you have one?
Yes.
What color was it?
It was aqua.
Mine
What about
was
you?
Green. I had a green one.
Of course.
That's
we did.
another thing that could have started on fire.
Did you have a dolphin lamp that bubbled up?
Nope, I didn't have that.
Did you have bees in your doorway?
No.
Oh, they were great. I had the dolphin lamp that bubbled up. I had a lava lamp. I had a waterbed. I had a Sega. I had a VHS. I had beads in my doorway. I was just thriving. I was thriving. Can I go back there? Can you just transport me back there?
Put me there.
Yes.
How about those pens that you could click down like 6 different colors?
Yes.
Did you have that?
Yes. Yes. They were the best.
I never had one of those. Did you have a skip bow? You know, you'd put it on the one ankle and you'd try and see how many you can jump.
I had a skip bow, I had stilts, and I had like the
gravity boot things?
Yes. The gravity boot thing sucked, but the stilts were great. I also had a pogo stick.
Oh, heck yeah.
That I could rock the crap out of.
Well, okay. I'm glad you brought that up because not too long ago, a couple years ago, I found a pogo stick in Holly's garage. And we were waiting. We needed to wait a few minutes before we could go somewhere.
I may have saw this video.
And I was like, I for sure can pogo stick. Like, what the heck? So I'm jumping on this pogo stick. And I'm jumping. Hit some sawdust. Bam! Flat out like Superman. Holly screamed a blood-curdling scream. And she thought for sure I was going to have no teeth left. But I tucked and rolled perfectly. I wasn't injured at all. And then I realized pogo sticks are for children, not adults.
Yes. Same with stilts. Obviously, as proved by tonight, same with bikes.
You used to make mixtapes because you had the computer with the burner.
Yeah.
Did you make them for just a lot of random people or for yourself or?
Oh, I'm very selfish. I made them for me. I had a Dodge Neon with a 4 CD changer, man.
Oh, heck yeah.
I made them for me. And I also had 2 12-inch subs in my trunk.
Oh, well, what did you put on your mixtapes? What was your genre?
I'm very eclectic in my music taste, but let me just play you the sounds of my people.
You're one of those, huh?
Ask Malachi. He will be down with this.
I love it.
So, yeah, I had a lot of rap music.
Well, that explains with the subs.
Yes, I also had a Chicago White Sox hat. Which I feel like as a Boston Red Sox fan, you can, like, diss. That's fair.
Did you think you were from Compton or what?
I thought I was from Chi-Town, bitch.
I love that. Now, you were talking about your computer. Did you go into chat rooms? Were you a chat room gal?
I did AIM with my friends.
Oh, sure.
I never went and talked to strangers. I did do AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah.
What about you?
I would instant message on AOL, but it was mostly people I knew.
Yeah.
Except for Yahoo, when that came out, had a pool table thing that you could play pool.
Yeah.
And I would talk to people in there, but it wasn't about anything personal. It was just like
pool.
You played pool with people and talked about different stuff. But you never said anything about where you lived, or you weren't trying to date anyone.
Yeah. Did you ever do the trolley, like, mini golf course?
I don't think I ever did that.
Bummer. That was my favorite.
Huh. Did tons of Oregon Trail.
Yes. Oregon Trail was
And
the
that's
best.
one of the things that you almost never won.
What did you die of most of the time?
Almost always dysentery. Almost always.
Same.
Yeah.
Fording the river was also very hard. I always lost at least oxen.
Yeah,
Usually
exactly.
I lost myself.
Yeah, why was it so hard?
I mean, maybe the Oregon Trail was really hard for people. I don't know, man.
Okay, so were you down with the California raisins? Were you into them?
I mean, I ate them because I had to.
No, I mean like the California raisin figures. They would sing and dance. Maybe it's too old.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the actual, like, the raisins with the lady that... Okay.
Nope, you're good.
Okay.
No worries. Did you have the scented markers?
Yes, we still do.
They still make them?
Yes, they do.
Are the scents the same?
Yes.
Do they still smell terrible? Most of them?
Well, some of them do.
Yeah.
I mean, they have, like, root beer, which smells like root beer, and they've got black licorice.
I feel like the scented markers smelled good the second you opened it up a fresh pack, but then you'd write on paper, something would happen to it.
Do you know?
Like taint it.
Right. They'd mess it up. As a parent, there have been multiple years that they're like, do not send scented markers.
Oh, too much sniffing, huh?
Well, I think it's like jealousy. Like, do not send scented markers because other kids don't have the scented markers.
Sure. Did you ever play the board game Perfection?
Yes, we have that.
Do you think that that's the cause of all of adult anxiety?
I wish it was that easy, man. I think that is a great anecdote for where our anxiety stems from. I don't think it's the cause.
Well, think about the games that we had. We had Perfection, where you never knew when that puppy was going to pop. You had Operation, where you thought you were literally going to get electric shocks, even though it doesn't even hurt, but we thought for sure it was going to hurt. Why did we have games like this?
They were just trying to make us want to do the best things ever. That's why my sister's a doctor, man. It's Perfection and Operation. Those were the only two games we had. Monopoly and chess, she threw the board.
Oh, sure.
It's gone.
Yeah.
But no, in general, Perfection is fun until it's not.
Roller skating or rollerblading?
As a child, roller skating, absolutely. So in Cleveland, for 2 weeks every year, we got roller skates, and then we could bring our CDs in, and they would play like the songs we chose. It was great. 2 weeks out of gym class every year. We got to just have so much fun. Rollerblading was great as a teenager, but let's be real, there's no freaking way I could do that as an adult. I've tried. And I'm like, I'm going to break multiple bones.
Yeah.
I'm very top heavy. You haven't noticed? What about you?
I loved roller skating at the Skating World.
Skating World, yes!
Yeah, you would get all the hip tunes, which, fun fact, my dad was one of the DJs there, so I was there quite a bit. And then they had all the fun games like toilet seat races, and that would always pinch your finger. You almost
I mean,
always.
that always happens.
But then when rollerblades came out, we were all about the rollerblades. We were on them constant.
Yes, but
And what's
as
weird...
an adult, have you tried rollerblades?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Because I was played hockey.
Have you tried them recently?
Yeah. Like a year ago. I have freakish balance.
I believe you.
I really do.
I believe you. I believe that you're very, very fit.
Ooh, this is a good one. The MASH game, where you would do your husband, money, you'd live in whatever town, job, car, pets, kids. Did any of that ever come true? For anyone that you ever knew?
No.
Same. I didn't know
How about
anyone.
you?
Nope. Nobody ever got their wish in that game. But that is really something that I don't know if kids have, fun stuff like that. Like, do you remember writing notes to your friend or some guy you like?
Like folding
in a triangle.
Like, yes, absolutely.
And then
we still do that part.
Then we had that, like, whatever that thing was with the... it was like a flower.
Like,
I don't know what it was called. It was kind of like a...
You had to pick the number, and that's how many times you like...
Yeah.
They still do that. I don't
do
know
they
what it's
really?
called either. Yes.
It's like
Addie still does that.
Form
And she's
of
9.
origami or whatever. Okay, starter jacket. What team you have?
I never had a starter jacket, but my cousin had a 49ers.
I had a Charlotte Hornet one. I liked Alonzo Mourning, and I really think I just liked that it was purple. I don't know. And teal. But I feel like a lot of kids had Charlotte Hornets. A lot of Chicago Bulls. Tons of those were happening.
All the Bulls.
Yeah.
I saw all the Bulls, but...
Slip and slides, drinking from the hose, and plastic pools. Those were a thing. The plastic pools were not even a foot deep, I don't think.
We're talking about, like, the rigid plastic?
The rigid plastic pools. Why did we have those?
They still have those.
I know, but why? What is it actually for?
They're great for dogs.
Well, I know, but, like, what's the point? Then you thought you were really upgrading when you'd get the one that had the soft bottom and the harder sides that was just a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
We got one of those, and that was maybe a foot and a half deep. And your dad would fill it with the hose, and he would never leave it up because he's worried about the grass dying. And so it was always cold.
Oh my God, I've become the dad.
Yeah, no, for real.
We can't leave the pool up because we're going to kill the grass.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I've become the dad.
It's happening. And we used to do crazy things. We had the little G.I. Joes too. We threw the G.I. Joes in the little pool. And we would take our plastic boats and pretend we were rescue divers. And we'd fling our boats all around and we'd dive down to save the G.I. Joes. We've done a lot of good things here. What else do we need to talk about, or do we get it all?
I don't know, but my Adderall is obviously worn off because I'm a 90's kid. I'm knocking your chairs around and spilling.
Oh, we forgot to talk about something. Why do we have so many weird kinds of gum? We had bubble jug gum, paint can gum.
Zebra gum.
The zebra gum. We had gum that was checkbooks. Why were they so...
I remember the checkbook.
Why did they always want us to do stuff with checkbooks? I feel like everything was checkbooks.
Same. So Dare. Going back to Dare.
Yeah.
We had to write checks in Dare. Which...
We always were writing checks.
Yeah. Guess what? My kid can't even write in cursive and she's 17. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying anything bad about her, but like, currently there is no writing checks.
Yeah, we don't even write checks. So why did they teach us to write so many checks? Were people just writing tons of checks back then?
Well, they were like, this is never going to die. It died.
Yeah.
Like, it's dead. I write 1 check a month and that's for my rent. And I'm like trying to do cursive and it's... Do you remember that Billy Madison scene where he's like, risotto?
Yeah.
That's what my checks look like because I write them so rarely. It's like, risotto.
Did you ever have the Orbits drink that had the weird, like, gel bubble?
The bubbles. Also, we drank balls. It was called balls.
I never saw balls.
I was in driver's training, and they had this drink called balls. Which was...
that had to have been generic.
It was... Yes, exactly. But it was a caffeinated energy drink that had balls in it.
We had Fruitopia. Yes. Clearly Canadian, but that's come back.
Fresca has also come back.
Tang.
Yes.
We had Kool-Aid, but you had Charcoalberry Finn and Purple Saurus Rex, because all things that played off those movies.
Yes.
And we had the Kool-Aid, like, Squeeze-It things. The plastic container.
Yes, Yes.
So good.
What about the ones that like you had to bite the
Yes.
tip off and it was just straight up?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was the Squeezits.
Yes. Well, there were the
Surge.
Squeezits.
Oh.
But then there were the other ones that were even more plasticky.
Oh,
that were
sure.
small.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not surprised, but this is where the audio cut out on us because we spend so much time getting off track and spinning in chairs. If you enjoyed this episode, I bet you we can get a part 2. Please just let us know. That's a wrap on our nostalgic joyride, and if your Tamagotchi survived this episode, congrats. You're a true 90s kid. Hit me up on Instagram at Dippy_does and tell me which toy, snack, or show had you in a chokehold. Until next time, stay rad, stay dippy, and don't come inside until the streetlights turn on.